So just load the wing out. It's 6:30 in the morning on the 15th of March 2022. If you can see the sock behind me, it's a nil wind. It's also quite kind of misty and a bit murky, a little bit damp. Temperature's probably about 3 or 4 degrees C. So a little bit chilly, but very humid it seems. Wings laid out. What I'm worried about now is that the wind is going to shift around. I'm going to play the game of lay out your wing again. So I'm expecting to have to relay the wing out again if the wind's shifted, but it's fine. So I've got a 17 litre tank, filled it up to the brim. And the plan today is to go down to, is it Cheshunt or Cheshunt? I don't know how you pronounce it actually. So I'm going to go down to North London, maybe Potter's Bar, around the east side of Luton airspace, and fly back because we have a bit of an easterly at the moment. It's set to get stronger by 8-9 o'clock, so that'll be hopefully have a nice tailwind on the way back. See you up there. Well, that didn't go to plan, did it? So the first launch failed. I thought it was a nil wind, but it turned out to be slightly downwind crosswind, which caused the wing to fall down. So relayed out and now back up in the air. So off for a lovely flight. So the forecast today is for sunshine actually later on, but it's quite murky in the morning. Quite a lot of haze around. It's high pressure pushing this moisture down. So, but I really love these conditions. You can see the ground at all times, so no problems there. But when looking across the landscape, it does look like fog, but it's actually just quite a thin layer of mist. But I just love the look of it. So the plan right now is to fly towards Letchworth, Garden City, and then down the east side of Luton airspace, and then down towards Cheshunt. So my fuel burn rate at the moment is around 4.5 litres an hour. And I think that's because of my flying style may have changed. So I do like a long flight, and I'm not going up and down, gaining altitude and coming back down, gaining altitude, coming back down as much anymore. And I try and trim out into wind a little bit, and then if I've got a crosswind or a light crosswind or a good tailwind, I will pull the trimmers in. So those things, combined with the cool air as well, it's given me a really good fuel economy. So it's around 4.3 to 4.5 litres an hour. Whereas last year, and I was going on full power up to 5,000 feet, back down and back up again, and that was costing me, probably 5.5 litres an hour, something like that. So I'm gaining a litre an hour of fuel, which is nice. So as I've said before, I do love some bit of low flying, as long as there are no power lines around. I've been down this way before, so I know where all the power lines are. And but I just love all altitude flying, to be honest. I love being above the clouds and down low as well, so it's all great. Now about to fly over Hertford Castle, which is a Grade 1 listed building dating from the mid 15th century. It was a royal palace for 300 years, and Queen Elizabeth I spent much of her childhood there. now flying over Cheshunt, and so this is in North London, so it has an overground station, doesn't have an underground, which goes into Liverpool Street. And in the distance there, you can't really see it that well on the GoPro. I'll show you a photo in a minute, but you can see the London skyline with the Shard and Canary Wharf and everything. So there's the shot from the big camera, so you can see it more clearly. So it's great to fly along North London. Basically, this is the M25 below, so I'm just on the outside of London, and so it's great to be able to see that from to be able to fly down there from my home field. And this down here below is the Oshwal Association, which is part of the Jain religion, is it? So I don't know much about it, to be honest, so I won't talk about that. So at this point here, I'm about the furthest point on the route I'm doing today. This is Potter's Bar, which is in North London as well, just outside the M25. So at this point I'm turning and now slowly heading back towards the airfield at the furthest point away from the start. So this here is Hatfield House. This was completed in 1611. It was built by Robert Cecil, the first Earl of Salisbury, and son of Lord Burleigh, the Chief Minister of Elizabeth I. And today the house is the home of the 7th Marquess and Marchioness of Salisbury. The deer park surrounding the house and the older building of the old palace has been owned by Elizabeth's father, Henry VIII. And in 1558, Elizabeth learned of her accession to the throne. So they do concerts here in the summer. I've been to a concert a couple of years ago in Hatfield Park, and there's big gardens. Yeah, very nice. So now flying over Welwyn Garden City, the second garden city in England, founded in 1920. And it's supposed to be surrounded by a rural belt, and the whole of the land being in public ownership or held in trust for the community. Letchworth Garden City, which I flew over earlier, it was the first garden city in England. And this here is Digswell Viaduct, which is a Grade 2 listed structure of 40 arches. It was the longest and tallest viaduct on the Great Northern Railway's route, and it's 1,500 feet long. It was claimed that it was officially opened by Queen Victoria in 1850, but she was so frightened of its height that she refused to travel across it and left the train. So I'm now heading north up the east side of the Luton airspace on the way back to the airfield. So I have to go around Stevenage. This is all the Luton basically approach. So keeping low, I don't think I can go higher than 1,500 feet along there. And this is Letchworth Garden City, as I mentioned earlier. I can't get any closer to Hitchin than this because that's within the Luton airspace. I'm just going around the outside of Hitchin, over this old ruined church in Clophill, Bedfordshire, and quite close now to coming back to the airfield. So this here is Wixams, which is a new town, which has been under construction since 2007 and is still, as you can see, still being built, still quite a lot to do by the looks of it. So now coming for a landing. It's 3 hours 10-minute flight, did 85 miles. Took off at 7, landed at 10 minutes past 10 and did 85 miles, burned 14.5 litres at 4.6 litres an hour. Now this truck gave me a little bit of trouble as I was coming in, managed to avoid it luckily, but I had to come in low because of the power lines and the wind direction, but all was good, but a little bit of a buttock clenching landing, that one. Oh, almost hit that truck. What a flight. Wow, 3-hour flight down to North London. What a great flight. It's been such a long time. Had a flight last night, which I'm not going to post. But it's been over a month since my last flight. It was great to get up and have a lovely morning flight. It was, as you remember, it was a bit misty this morning, but the sun's getting strong now. Middle of March, some spring thermals. It was a little bit bumpy maybe halfway into the flight, after about 8-9 o'clock when the spring thermals started kicking off. So it's nice to know the thermals are back. It's a nice warm flying weather. See the sock now, it's wind's quite strong now, so had a lovely tailwind on the way back. I was doing about 45 miles an hour across the ground, trimmed in, so managed to cover some good distance. So if you enjoyed that, hit the like button and see you in the next one.